Okay, this is going before the review. Check out the hat. That is a beautiful hat. I can't be the only one who thinks they just photoshopped that in. Marvel at the hat. I need a fancy adventurer's hat. Hold on. Wait. Play the review. I'm gonna go get my hat. Greetings, people of Earth! It's October here. Welcome to Games That Time Forgot. This time around, we're looking at 2013's Deadfall Adventures. Created by the Farm 51 and Nordic Games, Deadfall Adventures puts you in the boots of James Lee Quatermain, a dashing American adventurer who's the great-grandson of Alan Quatermain, who you may know as being the last role of Sean Connery before he decided to quit movies. Can't say I blame you there, Mr. Connery. Anyhoodle, this game tries to capture the feel of old adventure serials and movies, much like Indiana Jones did, which you won't be able to forget because they keep making obvious references and allusions to it. But more on that towards the end of this video. Screw it, let's go for it now. Indulge me for a moment.
Quatermain stumbles his way through adventure, making his way through tombs in Egypt, the Arctic, and Guatemala, in search of the heart of Atlantis.
Okay, voice hurts, not doing that for a while. Joining him on this quest, Jennifer Goodwin, his gal Friday, and a British agent of an American agency known only as the Agency. And a Nazi so generically made, he looks like Hitler, who decided to shave his pushly broom mustache. Because really, what game set in the 1930s and dealing with ancient magical powers would be complete without Nazis? Not to mention Russian communists. And, yeah, sure, mummies. Wait, what? Mummies? Sweet! And you have to kill them how? With a flashlight. Flashlight it is. And admittedly, when they had me sneak onto a Nazi U-boat that had just stolen a Mayan mummy from the Arctic temple, I was willing to just go, you know what, fine, wherever you're taking me, I'm ready to drink this crazy juice. And after that, I regretted drinking the crazy juice. Before we get on to the actual, review part of the review, let's take a look at the mechanics. Clunky. I can deal with the fact that the weapons are standard fare for a military outfit. Hey, cool, dandy, whatever. We're not going through secret labs trying to discover some laser rocket thing. There's no moon base and no sudden deployment of atomic weaponry. Fine, I'm A-okay with that. I have a flashlight that can set mummies on fire. I'm pretty happy with that. Oh good, and it can blind actual humans. That's sensible, I guess? The only problem is occasionally enemies will spawn in rooms you've already cleared, which makes backtracking a pain, especially when you're trying to refill your health. And, of course, then there's the dandy. Occasionally the enemies can shoot through stuff that you can't shoot through, which is just annoying and going to cause you to have a bad day. The puzzles aren't really inventive, and most of the death traps are death traps that don't explain how to get passed by because the magical journal that your great-grandfather filled in for you somehow and never mentioned that, oh, by the way, there's this secret artifact in there that can cause reality to crumble in on itself, only loads up the answers to the puzzles half the time. Once you get used to relying on it, the sudden disappearance of any useful information, again, annoying and the start of a very bad day. And now, if you'll indulge me again, a little bit of a rant. At various times throughout the game, Quatermain will make a reference to the Indiana Jones movies. Usually Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, wherein Indiana Jones finds the Holy Grail. However, this is usually done in a bitter, kind of terse way, as though he's upset at the fact that he'll be known as being an Indiana Jones clone. When he says that piece belongs in a museum, he adds, and the reward for finding it belongs in my pocket. Fine, dandy, Quatermain is out and out a treasure hunter. He's not an archaeologist. A better target might have been the Mummy reboots that happened in the late 90s and early 2000s. My time period is pretty off on this, but I'm sorry, I don't have my phone to check Wikipedia right now. But those movies did have the more biting, cynical outlook that Deadfall Adventure plays to. One of the key things, though, behind those movies that Deadfall Adventure never really gets is that the characters realize right off the bat what's going on is flippin' insane. They respond accordingly. They're flabbergasted. They're slightly amazed, and then they go forward and do the heroic thing, because at the end of the day, these are pulp adventures. Sure, they can be confronted by the Ark of the Covenant, actual mummies, the Holy Grail, thuggy cults in India, alien Mayan myth gold, Shia LaBeouf's acting ability, but they still proceed on because that's the heroic thing to do. Quatermain, Goodwin, and Vic Hitler always only seem mildly perturbed or slightly surprised by the wonders they're facing. I mean, for crying out loud, you discovered that there's a civilization in the Arctic that was wiped out somehow, probably by the Arctic becoming the Arctic. And the only response you get is, oh wow, This temple has architecture from all over the world. I might have ragged on Hunted the Demon's Forge for constantly having the Deathstone show you only the people associated with the plot, or in some way, shape, or form connected to the events of the plot, without actually fleshing out the world around it. But here, you don't even get a sense that there is a world around it. Just 3 set locations and the planes you take to get there. And maybe the idea that there are countries outside who might be involved in a bit of a scuffle. And I could even accept the idea that the game is kind of a send-up on pulp adventures of yore, such as Indiana Jones, The Mummy, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and of course Uncharted, if the game felt it was trying to copy anything other than the surface gloss. The 2 game series, Tomb Raider and Uncharted, are third-person puzzlers that admittedly involve a lot of shooting other people, but still at least they're challenging, and the frustration is the happy kind of frustration, where you know you can solve this, you know you can figure it out, and you feel great when you do it. Outside of Deadfall's mini-games, which reminded me more so of waiting in line at a restaurant with my parents when I was 5, the puzzles here feel weak sauce, and process of elimination, and hoping that the automatic save feature kicked in after the firefight, because it's just annoying. On the whole, the game is solidly okay. I don't feel like I was cheated out of the $10 I spent for it, but it really does feel like a wasted IP, which is a shame. I was looking forward to stepping into the boots of a Quatermain, any Quatermain, even Sean Connery's Quatermain, and finding out that it's actually pronounced Quatermain. I've been saying Quatermain for most of my life. It's solidly okay. Is it worth your time? Meh. Is it not worth your time? Meh. It's there. It exists. It is, in fact, a thing. Well, that's it for Games That Time Forgot. Please poke around the channel, check out some of the things. We now have Dashing Through the Inquisition, where Editor-in-Chief Dash speedruns through the dungeons of Dragon Age Inquisition. We also have Let Us Plays, performed by our own Mr. E. And until next time, I've been October. I put on a fancy adventurer's hat there, and if you don't believe me, tough, I'm audio only. Later, people of Earth.